Yes. You're welcome to the CastOffs podcast, season 2. What's up, Kwoff? Got Kwoffstar here. Enoch, how you doing, bro? You good?
Oh, I'm very good, very good, man.
How's the weather treating you?
That's what I was trying to kill person, but we did inside.
Man's doing -3s these days, bro. It's warmer in Scotland than it is right now, bro, down in the south.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I was saying to my mate yesterday, I think this is the coldest I've ever felt. I was like, I can't remember feeling this cold.
Yeah.
I'm with heating on.
Bro, we were outside Canvas on Monday.
Yeah.
Doing a rehearsal, bro, and I stood there, and you're so cold, but my chest is shaking. I just left them there. I went and got food and sat inside somewhere. I just left all the guys out there. I was like, I'm gone. This is not the season to watch people on people's Instagram either, because half my Instagram is in Ghana right now. For some reason, they're still out there. And it's not the time to watch anyone on Instagram right now. So.
Out in the cold, bro.
Yeah, I'll just
bro, I go out and you want to have, obviously you can't smoke inside anymore apart from home, innit? And I just hold my, I'm just gonna chill on this cigarette, man.
It's peak time for smokers, bro.
It's too much, bro. But hey, I just think it might get colder. Who knows? But
that's what they said. It's gonna get colder towards the end of the week before it warms up, innit?
Someone told me last week, which obviously they're lying, that when we first had the snap in it, so yeah, it's gonna get warmer. I'm still waiting.
That's what they said. Yeah.
Someone's been lying, man. Just tell
it's guesswork. The weather is actually guesswork, though. That's the thing. It's actually the only thing that you could just, only job you could just guess.
Yeah.
And that's it. You get away with it. It's just like,
okay. Well, we're back again, innit? Yeah. Season 2, new facilities, new get-ups, innit? Well, we got a couple of sponsors as well. Might as well start bigging them up now before this.
And a big thank you to our sponsor, Sheikah Lounge, which is a lovely cocktail bar in Westcliff, Bournemouth, for those who like to have a good time and be home early by 1 a.m. With free parking, which is very rare for Bournemouth, they have something to suit your entertainment taste all week. From day parties to Latino nights to Afro beats and even quiz nights. This lovely venue is also available for private hire, as it's perfect for birthdays, networking meetings, social meetups, fitness classes and comedy shows. Check in at their website, sheikahlounge.co.uk, and their socials on Facebook and Instagram at Sheikah Lounge. And keeping us warm this winter, we have My Connected Home, who provide comprehensive domestic cover and finance for your boiler. We have to say thank you, as they're one of our dedicated sponsors supporting the show. And My Connected Home actually provides brand new efficient boilers with affordable monthly finance. And if you can't afford to buy one right now, that's okay, because subject to approval and credit checks, they'll provide one for you. Just get in touch at myconnectedhomeuk.com or call 0345 057 3057.
So big up Sheikah Lounge, big up My Connected Home, and let's get cracking. So what's been going on in your life though, bro? What's been in the news lately that you want to squeeze out? How's the music business?
Music business, tough, man. It's tough, but it's good. We're growing. Last year before was all about just setting the foundations and getting it right. I think that's what I said, what we talked about last time. And this year it's all about growth, more opportunities, more artists, expanding everywhere, man. Every
EMG worldwide, eh?
EMG worldwide, baby. Come on, we're coming for it, man.
That's it. Since the last time we spoke, have you added any more artists to the lineup or to the roster?
Yeah. So since we last spoke, I think we've welcomed Dubs 500 to the camp. Incredible artist, very dynamic, great vocals, and a good lyricist as well.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite guys is a guy that I personally can't even understand where he's rapping, but he's so cold with the bars and his delivery and his people, the way they respond to it. You just have to tap in. It's like, this is the feeling I expect people get when they listen to Sarkodie and Kanye.
Yeah.
And that's Tenny, TR Craze.
Where's he from?
South Sudan.
Big up the Sudanese. Yeah, you got Sudanese rap on your lineup, yeah?
Yeah. Real,
how old is he?
23, very young guy. Been through the trenches. Yeah? He really been through it. Like, he got himself here through the desert.
Oh my, we need to bring him down to come and have a chat, innit?
For real. He's an incredible guy. His story is incredible, and for him to have gone through what he's gone through.
Yeah, to get here.
Yeah.
The thing is, because obviously it's the negative stories about obviously people fleeing wars and famine. It's what we always get over here, which sometimes they are true. But my thing has always been there has to be a fair balance. So you need to show the positive stories as well, because there are loads out there as well. For sure. But I think with the media and people who've got want to keep a certain narrative, they just basically want to keep the negative side going. Obviously, we just had in the news today about obviously the guy who killed Tom, the local young DJ who was coming up in the scene. In Bournemouth. I don't really want to go deep into that because that's it was in the national news today about who the dude is, and already people are now bringing up the whole he wasn't supposed to be here in the first place, because apparently he came down 2019 December, this dude, and just before the pandemic. So condolences again to Tom's family. So we don't really want to go into that because I think it's still raw. But I think that it should be, we want to kind of put positivity around here, especially on this podcast. So I would like your guy to come down here one day. Let's talk about his life and stuff so that people can see. Because sometimes we forget that we have it easy and we have it lucky here. Yeah. There are pros and cons to everything in life, so even with immigration and people and obviously refugees and stuff. But it's my thing has always been, do not just close the door to everybody because a certain section is trying to just F it up for everyone else. Yeah. So big up to him there. And go on.
I think one of the things that makes it all so real is we sit here, you see it on the news, you watch YouTube, you watch documentaries and stuff, but it's crazy when you meet someone that's actually like, yo, that was me. Yeah. Like, I was really there. They like I remember, was it 2 years ago, we were watching the videos about like the Libyans capturing and I mean keeping Africans as slaves and all of that stuff. And he's like, bro, they had me for 3 months. Do you know what I mean? Like, he really going through that. I had to escape, and
at that young age as well.
At that young age, and then having to now, he's in quote unquote, when you make it to Europe, what's expected of you? Yeah, you have to go. You have to look back. Jeez. So wherever it is, no one cares about what your situation is. You just cross borders, so you need to start sending some shit back. So it's crazy. It's a crazy story, but he's a very, you can't tell. He always happy, always smiling.
Dude, of course he's gonna be, because he knows what he's gone through, isn't it?
Yeah. But he's just
happy to be alive.
He's such a good energy to have around, bro. Yeah, just good energy, bro. I love that guy, man. Real talk, man. Tenny's my guy. TR Craze. Check out his music.
Yeah, spell that out again.
TR Craze, TR and then Craze.
CRAZE.
CRAZE indeed. Yeah.
All one word. Yeah.
Yeah. Socials TR Craze 211. On Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. He just been removed from TikTok, but he was huge on TikTok.
What did he do?
He did. It's crazy. So TikTok is one of his biggest platforms for his music. Anytime drops, there's like 200 videos reposted. People just back in Sudan just vibing. Yeah. Now the situation in Sudan, South Sudan anyway, we know where it is. So there's hella videos of man them rolling in the streets. He shows me sometimes just holding AK-47s and they bump
which is like
music.
a normal for him, isn't it?
Yeah. They're bumping the music.
It's like a Tuesday.
Like, and he's like, yo, look at this. I'm like, yo, bro, that's crazy. Yeah. And then I think he just reposts and maybe like reposted a few too many of those. I don't know. They haven't really given an explanation.
So is that TikTok gone, or is he going to appeal?
They fully banned him. I tried to appeal it for him and trying to work through it, but they've removed
he's lost.
It wasn't really on stuff that he's posted. He's just reposting because they're reposting his song. They repost his song and whatever they're doing with it, he just reposting. So it's a bit unfair, but TikTok's quite hard to get through and to actually speak to someone and explain the situation. Yeah. But I emailed them and then they sent me a link, but you just go around generic, in circles. Yeah, you go around in circles. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Every song he drops, you literally sitting there and just like, yo, just watching it popping up. Yeah. Just the people they really love him in South Sudan and the Sudanese over here as well. There's a couple of big name artists from his area, Emmanuel Jao, Paige Johannes, some of the biggest names come out there. They really fuck with him, bro. All right, they really fuck with him, and
yeah, we have him on. We have it on one to come and talk about his life and obviously his experiences and his presence. And it's like, okay, what are you doing for going forward and his new projects as well? So big him up there and just put some applause there for him. And we talk about links and stuff. I might as well say this out there as well. Season 2 will be mostly on we had to create a new YouTube channel. Because the other channel we have, which is youtube.com/the business, which we're posting stuff on, apparently we had an infringement with that a few years back. So I think when we started the season 1 on there, we had 400 plus. By the time we ended season 1, we were up to 1,300. So, which is obviously big for monetization, but they wouldn't monetize us. Kareem knows, we've been going back and forth for months, bro. So season 2 will now be on a new channel on YouTube, and I think I have a feeling because one of the reasons was back when obviously the channel was first created 13 years ago was mostly music stuff, and obviously copyright infringement of music, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. So we've spent months going back and forth. Kareem can attest to that as well, trying to appeal, and they keep sending me this generic thing. I finally spoke to someone, and it's long. So we've now created a new YouTube channel exclusively for the CastOffs podcast, which is going to be YouTube, the CastOffs pod.
It's good as well, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Start from scratch and just keep everything all podcast on that channel.
Yeah,
and just grow again from scratch from
that's
that.
what I'll be looking for.
Yeah,
I don't look for the business page.
Yeah,
for the CastOffs post.
Yeah, it's a tongue, isn't it? So it kind of matches. I think maybe the universe wanted it to be that way. So Instagram, the CastOffs pod. YouTube, the CastOffs pod. So all of season 2 will be on there. At the moment, we actually transferring stuff from all season 1 to the new channel, so like it just for continuity purposes. So check that out. We'll put that on the line as well if you're watching it on the thingy. Let's see, what can we touch on? Let's start with should we start with the World Cup first, or should we start with the Inner White? Because you've been waiting for that.
Let's go World Cup. Let's do our favorite sport.
Yeah, the World Cup. Okay, so it's happened, and who won that thing? Argentina. I think most of us wanted Argentina to win because of Messi. I don't know about you. Did you? No, apart from Ghana. Obviously.
I think you're saying that because Nigeria. We weren't going to mention that. So anyway, for the teams that were in attendance,
oh wow,
we were vouching for our team that was there, which was Ghana.
Yeah,
and I'm sure if said country was there, if we hadn't beaten them viciously to leave them at home. No, but for real, it's weird enough. I don't really. I don't know. I had high hopes for England for some reason. I'm never really a big England fan because I think they really overhype it. But I had high hopes for them because of the talent that they got in the pool and that they could pick from. But obviously, Ghana, man, I want Ghana to at least get far. But yeah, a few countries I thought England would do well. I thought Germany would probably come through, and they really didn't, did they?
They didn't. They reminded me of, what was it, the last World Cup, the last Euros? They flopped as well before, obviously, the long seven
Germany
manager.
or England?
Germany,
yeah.
They flopped I think it was the last tournament or the tournament before. Even the last Euros 2 years ago, the other one, which they flopped.
Yeah.
And obviously, was the long seven manager that left finally? The German manager, not the new one.
The guy that came from Bayern.
Not the new one, the one that took over from Klinsmann.
Yeah.
He was there for like 10 years or so. He had to leave and then they were going to bring new ones. I thought I didn't see him flopping back-to-back tournaments because it's Germany, innit? And they flopped again. It's their problem, innit?
When we say flop, though, it's
it's
not like we expect them to win it.
No,
want them to challenge.
Yeah, because
and they didn't really challenge.
Bro, we've grown up, innit? We've grown up to see Germany in any tournament. It's minimum requirement from them. It's like breathing for them. Quarterfinal, semis. It's
100.
And they just didn't do that this tournament. They didn't do that the last tournament either. Nah. So obviously there's some growing pains and transition, but they still have players. So I don't know, but big up to them, innit?
Yeah.
I think my take. I mean, we can get into the organisation side of it in a minute, but my take in terms of, let's look at it from a pure sporting perspective. You look at it from the football side of it. It felt like a World Cup because, I mean, when we got into the knockout stages, how many continents were still represented? 5, I think. That you still had, obviously, you had Morocco that went through to the last 16. You had South Korea that went through to the last 16. I think Mexico did as well. That's the North American continent side of it. Then you have obviously Europeans, and you obviously had which other continent got through? Did Australia go through to the knockout stages? I think it was 5 continents actually got to the knockout stage. It was the first time ever, because normally it'd be bare South American and yeah. So it felt more like a World Cup in terms of getting to that knockout stages, and you have 5 continents represented. So that was good. I think it shows growth in football, in my opinion. I think it also shows that no team should be taken lightly at all. I mean, we saw Saudi Arabia be the eventual world champions at the first game of the tournament. You always get that every tournament, every now and again, but Saudi Arabia did well throughout the entire tournament for what they have and their football, obviously, heritage. I think seeing Morocco...
That was probably one of the most exciting games, though. Them against Argentina.
It was the first game, innit? It was the first game for that group.
They smashed
it was a smash.
You knew this was going to be a different type of tournament.
But it kind of reminded me, because if you look at the trajectory that Argentina got to the final, it kind of reminded me of 1990. We were all young then, but when I think it was Cameroon that beat Argentina in the group stages, when Maradona was still playing them, but they still got to the final and lost to Germany in 1990. So it's the same, but this time...
that tournament, bro. This is what I love, though. You know what? Yeah, sometimes I talk to Bizzy, yeah, they just like, yo, you remember that time? Bro, I was really little. I
history, but history.
I watched him back,
So Roger Miller, innit? And then
yeah, that's what I mean.
But I think with South Koreans did well. Poland did all right. I was kind of disappointed with them a bit because Lewandowski didn't score till in an open play till
that was the thing. There was
last 16.
There was a lot of strikers that we were very excited about. I was hoping to see more of Mitrovic, Vlahovic from Juventus as well.
Serbia, innit? Yeah, Serbia did all right.
There's a lot of like Vincent Abubakar who I wanted to see more of, and when he played, he was very exciting. It was quite exciting to watch. They didn't play him because he had a big mouth, I think, but it's weird, man. Our African politics, man.
It's always part of the cause, isn't it?
I think it was kind of set up for a tournament to be Ronaldo versus Messi, and it didn't quite go that route. It didn't
quite go that route. So we obviously with the age, and this is probably be their last tournament.
Yeah.
I think for me, the only one country that I think didn't really and that might even sound harsh. I personally think all the countries apart from one actually they did well within their limit. But I was not impressed with Qatar, the football team, the national team. And I'm sorry, Qataris, if you're watching this or listening to this.
I watched so many videos,
it's just levels,
documentaries about how they got themselves started or how they were preparing for the World Cup. Yeah, and I thought, you know what, they might mount a challenge because it is the World Cup. Is historically every host has done all right. Yeah, they push through. Do you know what I mean? You get at least
because they had the backing of the fans. They had a little push.
It's home game. Do you know what I mean? And there was so much hype around it. And when that first goal got disallowed, I knew it. That's why I was like, if they're gonna do it, this is it. And they were doing this right in front of all of us because we all seen this goal just go in, and they called it off, and there's no reason why. You watch it back 100 times, you don't understand why that goal was cancelled off. And I said, all right, cool. They're going to win this. Yeah. When that happened, I said, all right, cool. They won this tournament already. That's it.
Into the bag.
That's it. They got it. And then I feel like at some point, they're just like, all right, cool. We can't do it. They're watching. So they have to adjust it.
For me, I just think they didn't like I said, it was, for me, every country that I watched, they acquitted themselves well within their level. But I just think, and again, I'm not trying to knock them because it is what it is. I just didn't think Qatar were ready for that level. And obviously they had to play. They had to have a team represent the country because obviously they're hosting it. Which now then brings me around leagues.
Do you know what it reminds me of though? It kind of goes to show sometimes the impact of money in football because they've thrown a lot of money at.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But it was almost like playing City in the first year when the Saudis took over. You know what I mean? They had a lot of money. They bought a lot of players in, but they were beaten by a lot.
Yeah, the facilities was like top class. I mean, I
feel like that's what it is. I think a couple of years' time, this project is probably going to pull off.
It should. Yeah, but the thing is, for me, it was more like because the players they had in their national team, actually, they all went to camp before anybody else, April last year. That was because they could afford it. They say, you're not playing for your clubs anymore. We'll compensate the clubs, but you're not in camp. First class facilities they had. I think the manager used to be, should we call him a coach? Spanish. Was he a youth coach of Barcelona or something like that? Coach, yeah. So there is a little continuity there. And again, I'm not one of those people that knocks, why is the World Cup in Qatar? Yeah. My thing is, Qatar is not, in terms of, and I get the whole thing about spreading the World Cup around the world. I'm totally in support of that. But this is where I think the money and the backhanders came in. Is because Qatar as a nation, they literally started playing as a national team in the 70s. That's one. I know you have to start somewhere. But they didn't really even take football seriously, even after they created their football association over there. I just thought if for a World Cup as a nation, it's just too small. It's beautiful having to be able to watch 3 games in one day because all the 8 stadiums are around 40, 50 minutes away from where you are. It's nice. But it is called the World Cup for a reason. I just didn't think that Qatar, with all the money they have in terms as a country, as a landmass, is just too small to host something that great. Yeah,
you think that's what it was?
Yeah, of course. I just think you can have it in the region. Yeah, we want the Arab region to have the World Cup now. Have no problem with that. But then it has to be shared. Bahrain should have been a co-host of the World Cup in 2022. Jordan should have been there. Saudi Arabia should have been there, because then it's exactly what they're doing for the next World Cup. I mean, it's Mexico, Canada, and America. These are 3 huge countries that can actually host the World Cup on their own.
Politically,
right.
though,
but what I'm saying, it's politics and money. I just didn't think Qatar.
They are at war with like a few of the nations.
Yeah, but Qatar not at war with Bahrain. They're not at war they're not at war with Saudi Arabia. They're not at war with because even the Saudis actually relaxed the rules for the World Cup to have diplomats and everything, and people flying over from Saudi Arabia going to Qatar. So it's like they could have literally bench whatever beef they had for the World Cup. They did that this year anyway. I just personally think Qatar as a nation to host all those countries, especially a nation as well that has not really, they're trying to build a heritage and history of football in that country. It was just too soon. If they had attached them, it was like a co-hosting, like that's the way forward now anyway, we co-hosting major football tournaments. They attached a Bahrain or Jordan or Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia, they've had World Cup history, football history for time. Yeah. I think it would have been a much better World Cup in terms of atmosphere. Sometimes when I was watching not only the Qatari games, if you see the Qataris in the stand watching all the games, it was flat. I have to say it. And not all the games, but it was flat because the game is still a new thing for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree to an extent, because I think infrastructure-wise, I think it would have been the ideal place in terms of like the size, right? If it was really open and it was accessible to all. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think price-wise, the cost of the tournament, the cost of tickets, accommodation, all of that stuff, you take that into account. It wasn't really open to football fans like that. Yeah. It would have been ideal if, as a football fan, if I could be in an environment whereby I can travel for 2 hours and go to different matches, 3 matches a day.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Even if you had it within the region and share it within the journey, you can still do that because they're all close by anyway.
And then you take.
But you are right. It's expensive.
The cost of doing that and trying to do that across that region would have just been exorbitant. I mean, it wouldn't. I think it would have been even more flat trying to do it that way. Well, with this, you're trying to compact all the fans in one space, really, or in one nation that doesn't otherwise.
They don't have a football. Yeah, exactly.
In stretching out across 3 to 4 of these nations that don't have that, then you just.
But the thing is,
feel like you're limiting it even more.
You're not, because you definitely gonna have Saudi Arabia in there. Saudi Arabia already have that. Iraq have that. Iran they have football history. So it's what I'm saying is that region, it can still host the World Cup.
What's the average turnout for a match over there, though?
Bro, it's the World Cup, bro.
You have to take that into consideration.
Well, Saudi Arabia now going full throttle to host. They're going for 2030 or 2036. Yeah, on their own. But Saudi Arabia have always had history of football. They've been sending people to the World Cup since 50s, 60s. Does that make sense? But it's like they have always had history of football. I just think
these pitches are not necessarily with football first in mind, though.
Of course we do. What I'm saying, but the way the way it's going now, I doubt we're gonna see one country hosting the World Cups now. I will not see. I doubt it because
if the next one is stretched across South North America.
It's Mexico, Canada, and America.
Yeah,
and that's again. Those countries can actually host the World Cup in their own right, independently. But it's now a co-host thing, and I think that's the future. And I'm up for it. I mean, it was South Korea and Japan that hosted one.
Yeah.
So I think it gives. If you're trying to spread it all around everywhere in the world, I think the way you can start is to start look at co-host possibility. It reduces income. Everything's
logistically, man. Logistically, it's a headache, and
it's not, bro. Come on,
would be, bro.
How is it?
Traveling between, say, all right, maybe your team is just being hosted, right? Let's say I'm supporting. All right, Ghana makes it to the next World Cup, and our group games are going to be in Mexico, right? We make it to the semis are now in Canada or something.
Yeah, but you know that in advance. It's not you just tell you straight away because don't remember the fixtures all come out.
Still, that means I still have to travel. I have to travel. I have to book accommodation. I have to do all of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie, you balling, though,
bro? When Belgium and Holland hosted the Euros, they were close together. They literally share a border.
You can walk.
Yeah,
from Holland to Belgium.
Yeah, but it's end of the day. If Mexico, Canada, and America hosting it, then number one, you know they're gonna make everything easy for everyone anyway, in terms of accessibility and flights, blah blah blah, because they know it's the way.
I feel like it's gonna be that tournament is gonna be the most secure tournament that we've probably ever seen.
I think 48 teams, isn't it?
I think it's gonna be just purely because of just America's Well, I think it's gonna be tight.
But it's gonna be tight. I think it's the
You're not
next.
Gonna be able to do nothing else.
I think the next Euros, the Euros after. I think the countries are actually going for a co-hosting thing. I can't remember the country in the European continent, but it's them, Scotland, and Wales. Was it Northern Ireland? So it's like it can happen. It's not impossible to happen. I think you're looking for more.
Do you think England would take it if they had to share with Northern Ireland? Then
they'll take it.
You think they
would? Yeah. The thing is, it's a prestige tournament. But it's like countries now rather have like they rather want to share it. Obviously, if you want the Arabia countries who've got oil money, countries are looking at it. They look at this and they spend. You know what? If we do this on our own, it's going to cost us X, Y, Z. If we share it, we share the cost. It's easy, but they still have that prestige of hosting the World Cup, and they don't have to go through that whole. We might not qualify for this tournament if we go through qualifiers. Obviously, if you're hosting, it's automatic in there. So that's that one there. That World Cup's ticket. So did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the World Cup?
I enjoyed some games. Like you said, some games were very flat to watch. It was.
Which, top of your head, which was the flat game?
I think I watched. Was it Switzerland and? Is it Switzerland, Cameroon? Mm-hmm. That was quite flat. That was a game that I thought Cameroon should have smashed them.
Yeah.
And I think they just stole a 1-0 win. There was a few games I watched and then I'm not going to lie, I dozed off a couple of times. Mm. The most exciting games for me were obviously trying to watch Ghana.
Of course,
I want them to do well so bad.
But at least an African team got to the semis.
Kudos there.
An African team got to the semis first time ever. So there's big up Morocco for that, isn't it? So I see it as a big thing because I didn't even think that was going to happen. So it looks like maybe one day. Do you remember? Maybe in my lifetime we see an African country.
Samuel Eto'o called it. He said if things go well, you probably would see Cameroon and Morocco in the final potentially. And when they started playing, you saw the potential. Mm-hmm. Like they were different. They were different class. I feel Cameroon has so much more to give. They were probably one game away from getting through the group stages if they had the chance to replay the first game and start the strongest 11 or with Abubakar, who clearly shown from the second game when they brought him on as a sub and the third game he started that he just changes games. Like changed games.
So you think that you reckon so the next World Cup is 2026, the one after that's 2030, so the one after that's 2034. So that's what, give or take 12 years now. So you reckon the next 3 World Cups an African team will win it? African country will win it?
I think as a people we're finding more pride in where we come from. there's a lot of young people now, especially in Ghana, and because what the Ghanaian FA tried to do, I'm not so like wise on what some of the other nations are doing, but it's something that Nigeria's been doing actually for a number of years. It's actually speaking to a lot of these young players in Chelsea academies and Arsenal academies. And you're actually getting a good flock of players that are coming through the Nigerian under 21, 23. It's not these old guys.
There's always had that, bro.
You've had old guys that played.
Yeah, the thing is, they've always had that from time.
But like, bro, real talk. Like, I'm looking at the talents coming through now. You got your first team got 21, 22-year-old players, and they're incredible. They're doing well, and it wasn't Ekitike and all of these guys.
But the thing is, the talent's never been the problem, in my opinion. It's always been the administration of it. Yeah. It's always been the drain of talent and resources. I'm not even going to go with, obviously, say a Bukayo Saka, for example. He should be playing for Nigeria. Yeah, he grew up when he was born in England. Get that. So I'm not even going to go with that. I'm talking about, people that actually born in Nigeria, born in Ghana, and they got the talent, they've grown up there, blah, blah, blah. They identify as, I play for Nigeria, or I play for Morocco, or I play for Ghana. Let's look at that one. It's for me, and everyone knows this, it's never been the talent of African players. It's always been the administration side of it. It's always been
the things that Ghana tried to address.
It's always been the corruption element of it. It's always been the lack of continuity. The skills has always been there. And again, the management side of it as well. It's like when you go get... If you remember this, you go get some idiot that was a Swiss manager for a Swiss third league to come and manage your country's national team. My opinion has always been, if you were great, you'll be having top teams in top leagues around the world chasing you. You're just here to make money, and you're not that good. So I see this as a slow change now, where now it's like, we're not doing this.
This is the first tournament, and that's what I'm glad you said that, because all the teams that went from Africa this year went for African coaches. And that was really good to see. That was really
good positive. African coaches though, not any African coaches. My boy's boys, he can manage a match.
100%. And that gave me a lot of pride, and that gave me a lot of it gave me a sense of, all right, cool, we're heading in the right direction. We're having the right conversations, even if it's temporary, because for some of us, we only brought people in just for the tournament and stuff, which is not great, but it changes the dynamic. So then you have to look back at some point and go, all right, what did we change when things were going well, and can we go back to doing that again? So Ghana bringing in Chris Hughton, I didn't even know the guy had Ghanaian roots. Turns out he did.
And to take up the defensive side of it, he's very good.
He came in, and we managed to get George Boateng into our coaching camp was incredible. I was impressed.
Couldn't get you though. Couldn't get you though.
He's gonna come, man. England's not gonna play him, bro. If they do, they're gonna play him.
Gareth Southgate was there the last game when he just got 2 goals against.
They're gonna play him in a friendly and ruin it, bro. I feel bad for players like that. Him, Tammy Abraham. It's just something about them playing for England first team, and then it just.
But I think he wants to play for England. That's why he turned it down.
They do, 100%.
Yeah,
of course he does.
Because he's an England under 21 all-time scorer. So I think he wants to say why.
He's held that record for what, 2 years, and he still doesn't really get a look in. He doesn't get.
Yeah, but now Harry Kane is getting old. Harry Kane's not banging in goals,
bro. We've been saying that but he gets his goals. Well, the guy scores, but we need an alternative, because he's a particular type of player. Do you know what I mean? And if that format is not working, you have to be able to change it.
Yeah,
with players that can do it, and I don't quite think they've figured that out yet. You know what I mean? So,
I just think
we play Harry Kane for 70 minutes, it doesn't work, and then we bring someone on at 75th, 80th minute and try to change it. Then it's way too late. We have to.
I think if Eddie wanted to play for Ghana, they shouldn't be begging him. He should just feel it there.
Yeah, but that's.
I just think if you're gonna start having to push him and convince him, allow it. He doesn't want. He's not feeling it,
bro.
Just keep it moving. That's how I see it. Because if you feel it there, it shouldn't be a question. Full stop. Right. That's how I see it.
He needs to go to Ghana in December a couple of times.
Man,
he went there recently. We went there recently,
Yeah.
but again, like, you take away, these guys grow up here. Everything they know is here. There's the pride in playing. Maybe it's monetary, maybe it's something else, but you get a lot of pride in trying to represent England if you've played through the ranks here. Do you know what I mean? You know everyone here, you know the setup. You're automatically going to want to play for England. Do you know what I'm saying? if you've never played for Ghana and Ghana is not necessarily done very well, and like other than South Africa, and our under 20s and under 21 tournaments, like you might think, oh, I have better chances in my stature anyway in terms of like achieving something world on a global stage by playing for England instead of playing for Ghana. But now I feel like that dynamic is changing. Morocco is changing that.
I was gonna say that. It's like, I think it's more of a chicken and egg situation. I just think the better the African countries do in tournament, then the players who may not have necessarily played for said African country at the time, but they've got roots and heritage linked to it, will look at it and think, you know what? I like what I see. So it feels like, I mean, it shouldn't be that, but I think we're all humans at the end of the day. So if Morocco's now got to the semi-finals now, so it's that it opens up that space of kids in the diaspora, people who were born here, who say, "Oh, okay, I've got links to Morocco," and it's that's a pride thing for me. So it's like, unlike before where African countries don't even get that far. Cameroon was quarterfinals. That was 32 plus years ago.
But you know, one of the reasons why that happens and why we're still going to have this problem, I think, is how the pooling system works still and the allocation of slots, right? That's what I have my biggest issue with, because we shouldn't, like, what was it? Senegal and Egypt played Africa Cup of Nations final, right? The two of them shouldn't have to face each other.
Yeah. That's down to the African Union of Football, isn't it? That's down to how they... that's not FIFA problem.
I don't think if England played... Let's say England and Italy played in the final of the Euros, no chance would they be pulled into a group where there'll be a chance whereby one of them would make it.
Yeah, because they're the top seeds. They have to spread the top seeds out. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's more
and they don't
African
do that
Union,
with us.
African Football Union's fault.
No, but that's FIFA setup, though.
It's not FIFA setup. It's
100%.
No, it's not. The African Union say this is what we do with the fixtures, and they just need FIFA to approve it. So I totally agree with you. It should be a seeding system. So in Africa, the top teams or the perceived top teams should be split as seeds as they do everywhere else. So you have a pot of 5, whatever. Yep. And it was, when I looked at it, first of all, regardless of if, say, Nigeria knocked out Ghana to qualify or vice versa, I just thought it was an unfair system. Yeah. Full stop. If we had beaten Ghana to go through, I just thought you're losing one of the best teams, because the whole thing is the World Cup. You want to put your best out there for the world to see, and you're losing one of your. Regardless of where the results lie, you are going to lose one of your best teams on the continent. So that needs to change as well. Yeah. So we are going to we're going to talk about the organisation of it. And first of all, Qatari Football Nation, we're not knocking Qatar. I think the organisation was brilliant. I think it was smooth. There's not a single fight. Again, maybe it's to do with there was no alcohol allowed on the stadium. That has to say something, because every time we have fights at football grounds around here, there's always drinks linked, isn't it? No alcohol was allowed. Not a single fight at Qatar. So maybe there's something there for people to look at. I know people like to enjoy football with alcohol, but you can enjoy football without having alcohol in it. It's not up to me to decide that. It's up to each individual nation to see what they can take from that. But what I'm going to say is, because of the culture and the laws over there, alcohol was not allowed in the stadium, and there was no single fight, inside or outside. Maybe there's a correlation there. That's up to the powers that be. I think they're going to, for a small country, that's it in terms of, I think they're a small country in football terms to host it. For a small country to host a smooth World Cup, what they did, especially it helps with money. Having money to do it, they should be proud of themselves for that. First country from the Arab world to do that. So big ups to them for that. You can get an applause for that as well. But they need to sort their football out. That's all I'm going to say. So that's one of the episodes we're running up on. So again, shout out to our season 2 sponsors, My Connected Home UK. Check them out on myconnectedhomeuk.com and Shika Lounge, shikalounge.com. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to us. And yeah, don't forget our new channel now is going to be youtube.com/the CastOffs pod.
And if you haven't got your tickets for the 90s versus 2000s festival,
well, the business.com/tickets, isn't it? It'll be a big thing. 3 days.
Yeah, ticket.
Music from 1990 to 2009. So shout out all of you, and I'll see you in the next side of another brilliant episode.